When I grew up, I started being a music fan at a very young age. I watched all the pop shows on TV. I had very young parents, so I grew up with pop music. And I bought my first transistor radio when I was about 9 or 10 years old, a little black plastic transistor radio that I adored. And I listened to all the kind of radio shows and things. My teenage years were through the 70s. And as we know, the 70s went through so many musical phases, and I embraced them all, I think. So when I came to do music myself, I had so many references to reference, and I suppose an artist like David Bowie, when you look at his career, he went through so many different phases and tried so many different things, as well. He was a bit of a musical chameleon, and I think I maybe got a lot of my influence from that just from my love of music. I wanted to try lots of different things, work with different producers, musicians in different countries, in different places. So and so therefore it's an eclectic back catalogue.
It certainly is, and you have surprised people all the time along the way. I mean, Sandy Denny was quite recently, wasn't it?
I love folk music. I listen to a lot of folk, and Sandy Denny, I think, probably one of my favourite vocalists of all time. And she's absolutely fantastic. So I've moved into all kinds of different areas, and of course, I had my fame instantly with electronic music, and then I kind of went into more orchestral and working with string sections and things like that. So it's been a real musical adventure, and for me, that's what it's all about. I'm lucky because I've got a great catalogue of hits and popular songs, which will always give me a great audience, and I'm kind of lucky like that. So and that enables me to be able to experiment with other things and do other things as well, and go in other directions.
You've talked about some of the incredible people that you've been able to work and collaborate with, from the Sandy Denny tribute concert through to touring with Jules Holland, covering songs by the likes of Charles Aznavour. But a few years ago, I spoke to Gene Pitney about Something's Gotten Hold of My Heart and that collaboration. Did that all come about just because you loved the song?
I was a big Gene Pitney fan since I was young, actually, because I loved all those big ballads. He was somebody that really stood out to me when I watched pop shows as a kid, because of this incredible voice he had that was so unique and so different. And he had such a great choice of songs that he sang. And Something's Got a Hold of My Heart, it was a song that I'd always loved. And I put it into my live show just to see what reaction would be from the audience, really. And people really loved it. And when I came to do the Stars We Are album, I was on EMI at the time, and my A&R man, Clyde Black, he said, "You must record that." And I said, "Well, Nick Cave's just done it, actually. He's just actually released a version of it. So he's pipped me to the post on that one." But I recorded it anyway. I recorded a solo version of it, which I put on the album. And I went away on an American tour, and Clyde rang me up and he said, "I've got a bit of surprise for you, because someone's been into the studio while you've been away, and they've added their vocals to your version of Something's Got a Hold of My Heart." And it was Gene Pitney. Clive had got him to come in the studio, and he'd stripped off to the waist, apparently, because that's how he liked to sing. And he'd sang with all his heart. He'd sang Something's Got a Hold of My Heart. And that was it. It became a duet after that. And, of course, it was on like number one for 5 weeks, I think, in Britain and all over Europe. And it was a great success. And I was glad because it was able to bring Gene back as well to playing bigger venues, the Albert Hall and great venues, where, as before, he'd been playing smaller venues for a little while. So I was able to give him something back, as he'd given me so much through his songs.